Hello, and welcome to episode 118 in this series where I am programming an NES game from scratch. Welcome back after a 2 week hiatus, and sorry for lack of updates, but as I mentioned before I went away, I was away traveling with family, so there were no places where I could really work on this or stream or anything like that where we were. But it was good to be away and have some time to think about the project and what I want to do and how I want to proceed. And before I talk about that, I just want to mention that if you did, in fact, pre order the game on itch.io, for $15. It's available for pre order and gets you access to the source code and to the ROM when it releases, as well as the special edition cartridge that will only be available for the people who pre ordered. Um, I. Um, I did push an update to the code that's there. So if you've been taking a look at that code, you should. I mean, you probably got a notification anyway, but if you didn't see it, some of the code was updated there. I still have some more updates to do to that, but um, we're in a situation right now where I'm not 100% sure what code I actually want to push up there and what's useful. Let me know in the comments or contact me on Twitter or however you want to reach out to me and let me know what you think is useful in terms of what bits of code I make available in the GitLab repo. So, that all said, also want to mention that this week and next week I'll be recording and streaming, and then I will once again be away due to travel, but this time for work. And it's just been a busy year for travel, it seems. So just want to put that out there since I know about it. Yeah, so that's sort of the updates as far as where we're at right now. So let's talk about the game and where we're going. So I think part of the hesitation on working on some of the things that I was trying to work on here is that I was trying to do some fancy things. By fancy, I don't really mean fancy. I mean basically, I was trying to be super innovative about how I was making this game and kind of forgetting about the core principle of the fact that I should just be working on simple things and iterating on that and building upon that instead of trying to make my first idea my final idea. I think that won't work. I am, as I mentioned, sort of still new at the design side of these things. So, from a programming perspective, I can write whatever I kind of feel like, but from a game design perspective, it's I don't know. To me, that's the challenging part, right? Is designing the game and making it interesting and fun. So, to that end, we'll be working on building some real enemies, like simple enemies, and more sort of along the lines of what you'd get in a standard shmup, so that we have something, and then we can start looking at ways to make that interesting and fun and different and a little bit more realistic than what you typically get from shmups in terms of the way enemies come on screen and stuff like that. I think that's our best first step. And then last night, when I was supposed to be recording this, I started looking at some assets that I wanted to use, and found a problem with the asset tool misbehaving and not generating output the way that I wanted. So I wanted to start with taking a look at that, and that's all we'll do tonight. This will be a short for me video, I think, just because it's late already on Tuesday here, and I don't want to spend too much time kind of struggling through and rambling and covering things that would be better covered while it's earlier and I'm more awake, and we can do some more work on it on Thursday. So let's take a look at this. So the thing that I was trying to do is I've got this little ship that I've called Little Bit because, I don't know, I couldn't come up with a better name than that. I wanted to convert it over to a sprite, and it wasn't working. So if we look at what was exported, what's really strange about this is that we're getting the colors that you kind of would expect. Like, these are reasonable approximations of the colors that are in this image. But then the background is this gray color, which means it's some color off on this palette, and I don't understand why. So let's look at what we can do to fix that, because it's strange to me. One of the things I was thinking is that it has something to do with the fact that we're forcing this transparent color to be 3F, but maybe not handling that properly. So let's take a look. I want to look at what the created sprite actually looks like here. So let's see. So that's interesting. Why? That's the first interesting part. Why is this string appended so many times? Okay, well, we'll look at that in a second, but looking at, well, we've just got a stream of 3Fs here. And this is just a 16 by 16. So what is that, 256 bytes? So this is our pixel data here. So we've got 3F, 1, 2, so that's 3 colors already. Do we have a 3 in here as well? We do. So that's 4 colors, but the background is the transparent color. So I wonder if by forcing this to be 0 like I did, 3F like I did, we're messing up the color count and causing, because I don't think I accommodated for the fact that I was forcing transparency to be 3F. So let's do this. Let's make the color 0, because 0 is, the index 0 is the transparent color on the NES. Let's re-export this. Now, if this fixes the problem, we'll keep going, but I don't necessarily know that I think this will fix it right away. All right, so that looks a little bit more promising. Not sure. Okay, so that's 33. 33. let's see what happens when we load this up. I want to see what that looks like. So, yeah. All right. So, I mean, I didn't exactly expect that to fix the problem. So let's actually kind of walk through this. So this is basically looking at the colors that are coming in to see if any of them match the transparent index. Now the thing is that this is not an indexed image. This is an RGB image. But I have to look back, but I was pretty sure that there was something -1 if no transparency, otherwise contains transparent color index for indexed PNG only. Well, so, okay, but the problem is that if you change this to indexed color, let's take a look at what this looks like. The transparent index should become -1, I would imagine. So there is no transparency there. So, am I wrong? Can you not do... Hi, can you undo? No? Can you not do... Where's the undo? Timeline, yeah. Not exactly what I meant. History. Can you not do indexed PNGs with transparency? I thought you could. Transparent indexed PNG. If there's an alpha channel, you can control click on the thumbnail of the alpha channel to select the visible area. Image mode indexed. Channels. Alpha. There's an alpha channel you can control click. No pixels selected. Oh. It's weird. On the thumbnail on the alpha channel to select just the visible area. Okay. So I guess the question is, why can I not change doesn't really seem like that's going to do what I want it to do. But then again, I am not an expert in Photoshop by any means. Still no transparent index. So I guess I am a little confused. Eight-bit PNG with alpha transparency. So is this because, well, it says it's 8-bit indexed. Is there just no there's no way to make this alpha either. So what on earth? Maybe you can't do that in Photoshop? I thought I remembered seeing it in Sprite. And this is not final art. This is just something I got off of Open Game Art to just to have. Let's see. So does this give me a transparent index? It says 0 is the transparent index. Okay. So that re-indexed the whole thing. If I reopen that, we're back to 3F, 0102, 03, and 3F is that black color. But that probably isn't right, because I think that's the problem still, though. I think the issue is still that I'm setting the index to be 3F. Well, and then I'm not changing the RGB value either. Let's just force everything to be 0. because it is going to then, well, so I guess that doesn't really matter so much, because then it's supposed to be determining which index is going to be the transparent one, or I can swap it, but it's putting it, I think the issue is because of how many colors we've got in there, it's, let's take a look at this. I think I obviously did something wrong here in the way this was originally coded up, and I'm not exactly 100% sure what it is. I think maybe my definition of how to convert all of this in my mind translated correctly to the code, but was too vague in terms of what I actually needed. So this is a little bit more accurate, but still not great, because now that the background is fixed, sort of, we're missing a color. Let me do this. Well, no, let's not do that. Convert an image to index, so it's rebuilding. It's rebuilding the image based on the RGB values that are closest to the NES palette that we're using here. And then when we're hitting a transparent index, I'm changing the color. I think I had sort of the right idea, but I think the execution was dumb. So after converting it, what I need to do so right now what we're doing is we're mapping an image from the palette to the indexed value of the remapped palette. And I think what I should have done is basically said, okay, if you are getting the if you have the transparent index, just set it to 0, because 0 is the background color. Let me just see what this behavior changed by getting rid of that check for the transparent pixel color, because the more I'm thinking about it, the more I just feel like that was not the right approach to take. I don't even need to be doing this in Visual Studio right now. All right, so we're flipping 0D to 0E. Otherwise, we're using the index that we want. Converting things over, loading the image palette based on what are we doing here? We can get rid of this. May already be happening in the re-index of the image above. I gotta check if that's true in all cases, but so if the indexed is 3F, continue. Let's take this out here too, because again, I think that was incorrect. Shouldn't have done that. Oh, you know what though? Now I know why I was doing that, I think. Because we're converting the color over to the index into the NES palette. So we lose the fact that it's the transparent color because we lose that index, right? We lose that transparent index. It gets remapped. Whatever the color was, or it says it was, in the RGB definition of the PNG that gets loaded, and I don't even know what that would be under the circumstance that we have a transparent pixel. It might just be black. Well, let's take a look. Let's just set a breakpoint in this code here. We'll do a conditional breakpoint, and we'll say image indexed I equals image transparent index. I think that's right. So let's see what the value in pix is. That's weird. Why isn't... Why isn't anything running? Sprite to PNG. Oh, PNG to sprite, dummy. No use for the other way. Okay. So we broke on that because the indexed value is 0. What is the pix value? It's also 0. So it's defining, in this particular case at least, as 0, as black, which is what I was saying. So should I make the value maybe out of range of the NES palette so that we can force convert it to 0? Because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to remap these indexed image colors to... I'm trying to remap these colors to fit within the palette that gets extracted, which is, you know, just the 4 colors, or 3 colors plus background. And what's happening is that because I'm treating it, because of whatever nonsense I was doing, it was confusing my own logic and handling that incorrectly. So instead of defining it as an actual color, if we say if image indexed equals this, then we say image indexed I equals 65, let's say, which is not a valid color for the NES. We continue. So now we've got our transparent color being set to 65. And then, what is this doing? This is calculating the color map. So this would be the same thing. If we get 65, you skip because it's not a valid color to account for. And then here's where we're re-indexing. So if the palette is equal to the indexed, so let's see. So if let's do this. If image, oops, indexed x plus y. Oops, that's my C# getting in the way using var. Let's calculate this once. Thanks Visual Studio for actually letting me cut something. Alright, so if this offset is equal to 65, then offset is actually 0 and continue. Otherwise, so basically if we hit 65, it's not a valid color. I guess actually could have used 64. It doesn't matter. If we hit 65, then we're going to set the color to 0 in the indexed image. Otherwise, we'll actually set it to whatever it is in the palette. So let's see. And this is okay. So that converted it again. Let's see what this does. This. 1. I don't get why we're getting 33 here. Explain to me why you're getting 33, program. That makes no sense. Oh, and then is that why? Calc. Help me out here. Is that 33? No, that's 63. If index I is greater than, let's just make that 0. So we force it to the although I don't even know if that's used for the conversion process now that I'm thinking about it. It doesn't look like it. 'So we're loading the image, we're converting it to indexed, we're loading the palette, and then we're creating the sprite. So we looked at this, and we're forcing it to set the value to 65 if it's transparent. Let's just double check that we're actually seeing that in the memory. $33, $4, $33. So those are the raw colors. Those are the raw colors from the NES palette, I believe. Let's take a quick look at that. Where did Chrome? I guess I closed Chrome. NES Dev PPU color palette. these colors memorized for the most part, so we'll have to look it up. So 33 is that pink. 4 is that darker pink or purple. 10 is gray. Okay, so that all makes sense. And then we have 0 for the rest of it as our background, which I guess we could choose a different color if we wanted to, but I'm fine with that as that becoming the default background color for now. I think we probably need to choose something different, but that's okay for the purposes of our testing right now. Okay, so that's all looking good. And now that we have that, let's see what load image palette. Oh, so I've even got a note about this. Color 0 seems not to work properly, even though it's a valid gray. Have to figure out why that is. All right, so let's do that. So we're going to iterate over. So we're already in load image palette, and we're calling this recursively, it looks like. Shoot, I didn't mean to do that. I want to actually look at what it's doing when it steps in there. Load image palette. Oh, there are two. Oh. Okay, well, I could see why that would be confusing. There are two functions called load image palette. So what is this version doing? This is extracting right, so this is extracting, we got the color map, color count. So that's the other reason potentially we're having this issue, is that we are doing a modulo across the color count, which forces all the colors to sit in the first 4 palette entries. Color map in 1, okay. Oh. Huh. That's simply to skip the transparent value, isn't it? Should make a note of that. But you know what? The problem with this, the problem with that is that doing that is not okay, because then we're artificially assuming let me think about this. Well, no, I guess that's true. So what I was going to say is we're artificially assuming the colors we're using are not for the background, but or for the transparent background, I should say. But that's true because they should have been extracted based on the transparent index and the portion of the code over here that's looking at the 65. So these are all colors that are only the colors used in the actual sprite, or whatever it is we're looking at. So let's see here. At the end of the day, we're getting five colors. Let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back and look at what the color map 64-bit unsigned looks like to see what color bits are set here. Because invalid input, I think let's see, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 3, there's 4 colors set here. Really? Why? If we look at image indexed, there's 0. Oh, it's set to 0. Why is it set to 0 and not 65? There's 0, 30, yeah, so that is 5 colors. So why is that broken? Let's take a look at that. Image index. Okay, so let's go back to here, rerun this. Oh, because dummy, new indexed was not being set to anything of the sort, so that had no impact on the image that was coming out of here. So good work there. These are still not right though. Oh wow, you moron. Yeah, double equals. Let's compare those and do nothing with those values instead of actually setting them. This is what happens when you code when you're tired. Coding tired is good for nobody. So get your sleep. Alright, so that's a little bit more like what I was expecting to see. Now, coming into here, the color map should make a little bit more sense. What the hell? There's 41, 33, so 41 is our 65, right? Yep. So 65, there's 33, so there's 1, 2. What other colors do we have besides that? 3, there's the 10. was color maps value. Yeah, there are only 3, so there's the color count should be 4 because we have the first index. Just put color count here. So just keep it iterating through this and there are two more bits here that are set. So we're just shifting these over. Oh, okay, I know what the problem is. We're saying the color count is 5 because we're wrapping around to 4 and skipping the indexed, the background index, but that's okay. That actually shouldn't matter because that is actually yeah, that's actually a reasonable thing to do because we don't know that this is the last bit that's set. I mean, I guess we could determine that by checking the value after that last shift. And if the value of the color map is 0, we stop. Let's do that. If color map equals 0, then break. We're done. There's no point in continuing on because there are no more bits that are set. So we'll get an accurate color count then. So yeah, so color count is 4. We did not exceed our max colors. And now our temp palette has the palette values. It's got our 0 color, which is our transparent, which doesn't matter, and then the 3 other colors which do. And then what do we have in final palette? I don't even know. Final palette is, oh, this is just checking to see if it matches any any of the existing palettes we've created. And it should say false, so now it's going to copy it over, so that's good. And then it's going to retile the image. Or it's going to re-index the image using the palette. So if we take a look at that, I think that's just for the, yeah, it's doing it on a tile by tile basis, which is fine. Cool. And that looks right because, yes, because we're checking the 65 and, okay. So let's see. Let's see what that actually yields in terms of what the tool then loads up. Ha! There we go. It's actually using the right colors. Amazing. And then if we wanted to, because we said, we look at this and go, I don't know that I want pink. I can say I want to use 2C here, and then this one here, and now we've got new colors. Let's say this here and that there. I can just revert that. I don't actually. And you can see the bounding box is the entire thing. So what we can do now is we can do sprite to JSON, which will give us our sprite JSON file. Where are you? Oh, I didn't even open Visual Studio Code yet. Don't need that anymore. Put this back over here, please. So let's change the bounding box a little bit. Eventually it'd be good if we could, you know, draw this on, but I'll take what we've got for now. So it looks like 4 by 3, maybe 4, 3, and then the width is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pixels. And the height is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 pixels. And yeah, that looks good. And it's only using the one palette file. That's excellent, in fact. Cool. So then if we close this and we do a little magic here, if I can find what I'm looking for, we can say PNG to sprite, a little bit 2.png, a little bit 2.json, and that will that will fail to load the JSON file and create a problem. And probably not the most efficient enemy because it's spanning 4 sprites because of the way that it's sized, but that's okay. There we go. Oh, I'm off by 1 on my bounding box here, so let's change that and do it again. Oops, do it again. No. No. There. Really? What's your deal? Oh, did I go the wrong? I went the wrong way. Helps if you go in the right direction. That's weird. What gives? I'm tired. I'm just making dumb mistakes. Okay, so that's a reasonable bounding box. And those colors are correct. And it looks like we fixed the problem. So the only thing I want to do now at this point is never use Photoshop again. No. Move a little bit to .json to little bit .json. Oops, up pal sprite. No, it's not a thing. Oh, yeah, I didn't want to delete that file. All right, well, that's okay. Let's re-export the PNG again. Without the JSON file first, right? Okay. And damn it. Good, it created one palette file, which is that. Oh, didn't mean to do that, but okay. All right, that's what I wanted to do. And now that that's done, and we have our palette file, let's re-export the thing once I find it. Great. All right, so we fixed that problem. As always, thank you for watching. If you want to reach me, I'm on Twitter at Clearvis. I'm on Nintendo Age as Zelius on both the forums and the Discord. You can reach me at my email also, zelius@gmail.com. Feel free to comment below, like and subscribe. I feel like a real YouTuber saying that. We're at almost 1,100 subscribers here, which is pretty wild. As I mentioned, you can pre-order the game and get access to the source code and get the ROM when the game is released, as well as a chance to get a special pre-order only version of the game, the physical cartridge that's separate from the Kickstarter that will not be available to people on the Kickstarter. And what else? Catch me Thursday at 9 Eastern for a live stream where we will do some more NES programming and you can ask me questions. And this is the longest run-on sentence ever. I think that's it. I think I've exceeded my mental capacity for this evening with how tired I am. So yeah, thanks for watching. Catch Thursday and have a great night and see ya. Bye.